Hey everyone, Nubkeks here and welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. In today's episode, I'm going to be playing some Kel'thuzad and breaking down what's actually a really interesting hero. Quite a complex hero, and gets the Nubkeks award for the hero that I've seen feed most often. Most out of position hero in the game. It goes to Kel'thuzad. Hooray, hooray, hooray. So yeah, I'm going to be giving you some tips in terms of playing him, what you're looking to do, and all the sort of stuff like that. So, basically, I'll show you guys the Kel'thuzad combo in this game, which is one part of his playstyle, and I think this is the part that really feeds into the feeding aspect of his playstyle as well, where the Kel'thuzad combo, you chain all of your abilities together, you literally start with your chain, you use the chain to pull heroes together or to a structure or to your glacial spike, whatever it happens to be. You pull them into your root, your W, you land your Q, you land your Shadowfish or your Heroic on top of them as well. It does an immense amount of burst damage, specifically once you've finished your baseline quest. And you'll take massive chunks out of even tanky heroes' HP. Squishy heroes stand a good chance to be one-shot, especially if there's any sort of follow-up from your team. So that's a very big strength of Kel'thuzad for sure. And this is what I've observed from looking at some other players, is that very often what goes wrong is that they're so focused. This is probably my biggest critique of Kel'thuzad players just in general. Very often they're just solely focused on pulling off the Kel'thuzad combo, which of course isn't his only strength. And then oftentimes they fall into the problem of overextending, getting themselves caught out because they're focused so much on hitting their combo that they don't pay enough attention to their own positioning, or they sacrifice their positioning to land a combo, or to attempt to land a combo, which oftentimes isn't worth it either. So there is that layer of complexity. I think, the Garrosh video I put out a couple of days ago showed that perfectly, where it killed the Kel'thuzad a whole bunch of times because he kept stepping forwards and, he's just dead then at that point because he's trying to do damage. So that's quite interesting. Some of his other strengths, his other major strength, I would say, is his wave clear is insanely good. It really, really is insanely good. And for me, I've really been experimenting with Kel'thuzad and trying to form my own opinion and find my own build. You kind of get torn, you kind of get pulled in a couple of different ways because you kind of want to build into that wave clear a little bit. It's so rewarding, but then again you also want to be fighting heroes because you need to stack your quest. So I've had actually a fair few games where you kind of get stuck on soaking duties, especially like in unranked where you're not really playing with many other grandmasters or like even masters. Sometimes they can be a bit of a mix in terms of skill levels, so oftentimes soak is totally underdone. So yeah, you can kind of be sucked into doing that quite a bit because it's so easy to do on Kel'thuzad. You just wipe out the waves, which is super valuable. You can kind of be slow in finishing your quest. So finding that balance can be kind of difficult. And then with the build as well, right? There's a few different builds you kind of want to go for, but Glacial Spike at 7. I'll cover all this in the game, but Glacial Spike at 7 definitely is so good that it definitely pulls you sort of in that direction. So in terms of maps, I think this is something I found is really important. Maps very much affect Kel'thuzad. So he's got really good wave clear. He wants to be stacking his quest off heroes. His late game is also insanely strong. So this leads you don't want maps which are super focused on the early game. You don't want maps where you're not going to see enemy heroes that much, or where wave clear is not very important. So for example, he'd be pretty rubbish on Battlefield of Eternity because unless you finish your quest, you're going to probably lose all of the races. You're not going to get to use your wave clear against the Immortals. You're vulnerable to being ganked because you're big and immobile, all that sort of stuff. I think his best map, I was talking to one of my friends about this, I think his best map is probably Infernal Shrines. He's also very good on Braxis as well. So Infernal Shrines, the first few Punishers aren't that strong. It tends to go fairly late in the game. There's plenty of split soaking to do. He's really good at taking all of the Merc camps on that as well, because they're all 3 Merc camps, so his AoE gets loads of value. He's really good at clearing the monsters on the shrine. And then a crucial thing with Kel'thuzad is he's much stronger attacking than he is defending. And he works really well with the Punisher specifically, because when you're attacking, you've got all the enemy structures which you can hit your chains off of to set up your combos. And then, of course, with the Punisher can then combo onto your combo, so that's insanely strong. And his wave clear is really good. So even when you're defending, you've got the advantage of having superb wave clear, so you can kind of deal with that push. It's quite nice. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the game and talk about it more there. Alrighty, here we are loading onto Volskaya Foundry. I didn't mention actually how Kel'thuzad plays on this map in particular. I think he's okay on the map. Again, he's very good at taking the merc camps here, which is nice. Unlike Infernal Shrines, obviously there's no monsters for you to kill, so that kind of sucks. But this does tend to go very late game because the objective takes a while to take and it's pretty rubbish at the moment too. So that's one of the pros for him there, and the wave clear that you have is quite useful. So yeah, I think he's okay here. He's okay here. Now, level 1's really interesting. I think you can legitimately pick pretty much anything at level 1. They're all really, really good. What I've been experimenting with the Plague Lands. You're going to see it in this game. So this increases the duration of death and decay by 1 second. By default, this is your Q. You fire off this orb, it explodes, and then it leaves a pool for 2 seconds. This makes it last for 3 seconds, which is nice. And once we gain 30 Blight, it will increase the radius of the pool by 30%. So this will really amp up our AoE damage. It'll amp up our wave clear an awful lot as well. And I have been trying with this build. I think it fits as a good level 1 in this particular case, because the enemy team have 1, 2, 3 frontline tanks. They've also got Alexstrasza, who's quite large when she's a dragon in particular, might stand in the pool. And that little extra bit of wave clear I think would be pretty good. So yeah, I kind of figured it would work actually quite nicely in this game too. Also, of course, we can melt through the Nubkeks cocoon because the pool does damage every half a second. That will help getting rid of cocoon from a noob, which is going to be nice. That was unfortunate, missing that the chains. That's pretty bad. It means that Alexstrasza will escape. So yeah, I gotta say, I'm not super accurate on Kel'thuzad by any means. I'm still in kind of like the exploration and learning phase of him. So yeah, it won't be, we'll get off some Kel'thuzad combos, but we won't hit absolutely everything. One of your big priorities in the early game, you've got, I think, 2 real things that are going on. Let's say 3 things that you're kind of really considering. Number 1 is just simply stacking your ability. So hitting heroes with your chains and roots where possible to stack. That's something that you definitely want to do so that you've got your quest close to finished for the objectives. Unfortunately, that was a bad route, but Alexstrasza should still go down. Good follow-up by ETC. We throw in some basic attacks on Alexstrasza as well, and she does go down. So yeah, stacking up your quest. Also then, you might want to slow down stacking your quest a little bit to chain your abilities to look for picks. That can be worthwhile, though bear in mind without your quest finished, you do an awful lot less damage. This is also interesting too. You can see that I was trying to aim the chain down, but the gate actually has a pretty large hitbox, apparently. So it does get stuck on the gate. You kind of have to really watch. You have to very much be shooting that chain from one of the towers. Very outwards, you can't shoot it not parallel, but close to parallel to the the gate itself, to the wall, or it will get hit, which is not good. So we got Alexstrasza here. Alexstrasza is like target number 1. So this is a kind of example here of where focusing a bit too much on the combo gets us killed. I'm actually not 100% sure what did kill us. I think it was just Junkrat hit all 4 grenades on top of us, on top of a bit of a Nubkeks damage, and that was enough to take us out, I think. But yeah, I remember being kind of taken by surprise there because I felt like, hey, I was safe, and then we were suddenly dead. So that sucked. But yeah, the classic Kel'thuzad mistake is you're focusing on your chain target, and then you lose track of where you yourself are standing. I think we're a bit unlucky in that circumstance, but still it's something to be aware of, because it is kind of a common mistake. Your third big concern is wave clear, because you're very good at that, so you want to be using your abilities for wave clear as well. This also becomes easier to do once you have got past the first hurdle. Oh, I think he escapes. Yeah, he does. Barely lives. Once you've got past that first hurdle of the quest, things become a lot nicer. We got body blocked a bit by Karazim. I think we actually got hit by that explosion on the very, very edge of it. One of the things I'm still trying to find that spot for in terms of Kel'thuzad is whether to wait. For example, right here, I think was a good example. Whether to wait on just how much you want to fish with your abilities as opposed to comboing them together. So simply waiting for your cooldowns every single time or else throwing them out. So for example here, you can see that real nice setup by our team. So I can land a route without any setup with the chains. The team provides the setup. and we're able to follow them down. I've got the glacial spike out. I'm trying to work out where this D.Va's going. She's running in circles, so she does die eventually. But yeah, how often do you split up your combo? Because you can, but I've not actually found like the perfect balance of that in terms of, well, okay, maybe there's 3 seconds left on chains. I should definitely wait to use my W. Or, well, maybe when there's 5 seconds left on chains, it's okay to actually use your W then and be a little bit slower trying to land a chain combo. I'm not really sure on that, to be honest with you. I think it sort of depends, and obviously it will also vary based on what sort of, this is dumb, tab targeting reflexes from WoW. That's been happening to me a little bit recently. I press tab, bring up the scoreboard, I'm like, what the hell? And then can't take my abilities. It's pretty bad. So you can see I'm hitting the Alexstrasza with chains as often as I can, right? So long as it, again, the goal is to not put myself too far out of position. Alexstrasza is the ideal target because Alexstrasza, the more damage she takes, means that she can't go in and do damage herself with her E. She has to be more careful of her positioning. She can't heal herself very easily, and then it also makes her healing with her Q weaker. So it's really a win-win if we hit Alexstrasza. So she's target number 1 for us to go for. Let me cover the talents I've gone for. So the standard one at level 1 would probably usually be Blighted Frost, which makes your Frost Nova, your root, your W, do more damage in the center. And then when you're at full Blight, it increases the root duration by half a second. It's mostly you choose that, I feel, for the root duration, because it's so strong in a team fight. It's so strong when you're looking for picks. Basically, the standard build for Kel'Thuzad is to solely look for picks, which, you know, it works okay. It works okay. At level 4, you can actually choose anything. They're all really good. In this game, I think I went for Strip Shields in this game, just to help kill that Nubkeks a little bit better, right? Because he shields himself so much. We're going to be able to make him stress a little bit about that. Also, I mean, D.Va might get something with a shield. That was quite nice, actually. It was a good juke by the Malthael there, but we were able to lock them down within the Protector laser beam. And fissure that the laser beam leaves, so that did a little bit of extra damage. Level 7, I've got Glacial Spike. This is where things get really interesting. Because I feel like a Q build might be insanely strong on Kel'Thuzad, right? The Q build, I think, is insanely strong. Unfortunately, the problem is that you've got a Q talent at level 7, which is also really strong too. The Q talent at 7 is called Accelerated Decay. This makes it so that every time a hero is hit by Death and Decay's pool, they take 25% more damage from the pools for the next 4 seconds, and it stacks up to 6 times. That can stack up to 150% bonus damage from the Death and Decay pools. Once you got that cooldown reduction on your Q at level 1, not from level 1, from finishing the first part of your quest, not bad. You get that bonus damage on your Q from finishing the quest fully. That's great. You got the bigger radius, the longer duration from the level 1 talent. Level 16, you can take a talent that reduces the cooldown whenever you hit a hero. And then the huge thing for super late game, level 20, you can, the best level 20 talent, I think, in my opinion, by far, is called a Damned Return, where you can create a shade that will mimic your Death and Decay casts. And these are talented, right? Usually level 20 things are not talented. This one is very, very talented. So yeah, with a full Q build, you're going to be doing it basically doubles your Q damage as Kel'Thuzad, which is absolutely nuts, right? It's so strong. So that does make me feel like a Q build could be really good. It also gives you absolutely crazy wave clear, crazy zoning. The problem is that you have a Glacial Spike, and that's the big crux of the issue. And in this game, I think I actually go for the Q build, but minus that level 7 talent. And I'm still trying to work out whether that's good or not. But Glacial Spike is so good. It's so important. You see, this is my level 1 ability, my number 1 ability there on the hotbar. This, you can create a spike. It takes a couple of seconds to appear. Watch it here. Here we go. We're able to land the combo. Perfect. And she explodes. Lovely, lovely. That was a perfect gank, right? So what's going on there? That was the full combo, but that was the perfect target to hit with a combo. Because in that situation, Alexstrasza, she's focusing on clearing the lane. She's also very focused on ETC, right? She doesn't want to get hit by ETC because ETC is a whole bunch of CC. You can engage very quickly. So her attention was very much drawn to ETC, which meant I could come in from a flank, drop down that Glacial Spike, and then combo her a lot more easily because she just simply doesn't have the brain power left to juke it. you can only concentrate on so many things at once. I don't mean that in a derogatory way or anything, right? But it's just simply a fact that when you're focused on different things on different parts of the screen, and you just can't multitask that hard, or at least you can't multitask as well as you can single focus. So that's something you always want to be watching for as Kel'thuzad as well, is kind of trying to catch people out. In fact, you want to be doing that in nearly every hero, especially though people like tanks or assassins, stuff like that. Looking for the people that are going to be out of position or that are going to be focused, have their focus split. That's a really good way of doing stuff. Yeah, you can see you can set up the spike. The big thing about the spike is that it gives you a chain that you can use, which is crucial because otherwise you can only chain off heroes, which can be difficult to do because they're moving all the time, as you can see. And you can chain off structures, but when you're defending at your structure, or in a circumstance like this where we're going to be fighting over these control points, which are in the middle of nowhere with no structures nearby, we're going to be caught out a lot more often. This is pretty nice. We're able to use our chains to grab the Junkrat, pull him into the mosh pit, and we're able to take both him and the Malthael down. The way the chains work is that it will pull the two heroes equidistant, so it'll pull them to the midpoint between the two. When you use it off a structure, it will pull a hero to adjacent to the structure. So that's how you kind of land the combo there. For example, right there, we go for the chain, but D.Va's easily able to sidestep it because basically we're the only thing that she's paying attention to at that point. D.Va's able to dash to get away. One thing you can do as well, I don't think I do it much in this game, probably not as much as I should have, but you can pre-chain someone and then you can place the glacial spike down, right? You don't have to chain off the glacial spike. You can put the chain on someone, place the glacial spike, and then shoot the chain to the glacial spike afterwards. So that can make things a little bit easier to land. You can kind of land the chain while you're waiting for the glacial spike to appear and then pull them back. And it's easier then to hit the follow-up chain because the glacial spike obviously doesn't move. It's completely stationary, so that's quite nice. But here we are. We finished our quest, which is good. Lay down the turret there. I was looking for that Malthael, and you can see we totally missed our combo, which isn't ideal. I'm trying to get in position to land my Q on the cocoon, get whoever it is inside. I didn't know, but get them out. So there we go. Get them out of there. I'm splitting up my W, my E right here because we're not that near for anything for me to chain to. We're kind of under a lot of pressure there, so just even a little bit of zoning on the Junkrat I felt might have been worthwhile. Also, I'm paying attention to my glacial spike cooldown. That's something I really want to get. Kind of in a rough spot here. We're so slow. God damn, conveyor belt. Then we actually end up taking more damage than we should have, zipping back in there. But we're able to land our abilities. Once again, ETC providing really good lockdown, and that enables us to finish off with ETC a couple of those heroes on the back of it. Yeah, we got we slid back in to that bomb, took a bunch of damage. This was interesting. Karazim almost dies. I got kind of flustered there, so that's something I learned in this game. Your E actually does do damage to structures, right? I didn't know that. I presumed that it didn't, but it does. Your E does do damage to structures, so in that case, wanted to chain off of the wall, and her E actually destroyed the wall, so there was no chain to hit that D.Va with. And then I was, just that half a second too slow, following up with the damage. Again, looking for that Junkrat, and you can see that the chain actually hits the gate. So you do really have to watch out for chaining off of walls. You really can't go parallel, and anywhere close to parallel to those, you're gonna find yourself in a rough spot. Catch the combo there on the Malthael. Again, this is where Kel'Thuzad shines. It's when you're under enemy structures and you're pushing in with an objective. It's an absolute nightmare. They have to worry about fighting the objective, in this case the protector. They also have to watch out for you doing your chains, doing your CC, and there's so many things that you can combo off of. In this case, we comboed off the glacial spike, I think it was, on the Malthael. Kind of caught him by surprise, not really paying attention to the spike but the structures instead. Get a nice combo there on a Nubkeks as well. This was interesting. So that was a circumstance where I think chaining first, then glacial spike would have been a bit better. But I was just concerned about the cocoon target, that they might pop out of that cocoon and get killed by that D.Va. So we're actually able to use our chains to pull the D.Va mech away, just to save our teammate from that explosion. I think he was actually going to be fine anyway. But hey, it was a nice little flashy play. So what the heck? Why not? Why not? The mind games, the mind games. So we're level 18. We've got a really nice lead now in this particular game. Malthael, he's in the middle of nowhere. He's popped his heroic. Gonna pop the chains. You can see that slight delay means that he's actually out of range. Probably should have placed that down a little bit further forwards. Ragnaros gets thrown into the enemy base by Junkrat and then dies. Whoops, that's not good. Again, we kind of walk into the D.Va explosion. Not something you want to do. Don't encourage that. Don't condone that course of action. It's a good mosh pit by the ETC. Moving in, try get damage down on the Alexstrasza. She does fall at the end of it. Ragnaros picks off the Anubarak as well. D.Va is now stuck in the middle of nowhere, and D.Va is gonna die. And this is gonna be us onto the core, and yeah, this should be game now at this point. So we start to roll over them there at the end. But yeah, this is a big thing. You know, Glacial Spike is so good, and it's so important for any sort of team fighting or defending as Kel'Thuzad to get your chains and set up those combos. It's so good that it's difficult to go for the full Q build then, because you kind of want to pick that up. That's the problem I'm running into. So at level 13 you want to get Chains of Ice. It applies a 60-second slow for 1 second after the stun from your chains expires. It just ensures that you hit your combo more often. It gives you that extra sort of grace period, so that's super valuable. At level 16 you can go for Hunger and Cold, which is a W talent. That's very strong for the combo blow up. I really like Arcane Echoes, which reduces the cooldown of your Death and Decay whenever you hit a hero. It just enables you to spam your Qs in team fights and do an awful lot of damage that people don't expect. And of course then the big deal with that level 16 Q talent is that you want to take the damage returns at 20, which is basically double value off your Qs. So you can absolutely spam your Qs once you get that. You can just tear through teams. It's pretty disgusting actually, the amount of damage you can do once you got that talent at level 20. It's really, really strong. But yeah, that's Kel'Thuzad. So that's my build. It's kind of this weird mongrel build. I'm not sure if I'm fully set in it yet. Where we're building wave clear, we're building just AoE damage, that consistent, right? That's the key word here, I think, that consistent damage with Kel'Thuzad. We also have the pick potential. We also have Glacial Spike in there as well. I think it can work pretty well, but you can of course build more into the Kel'Thuzad combo. But the one thing I'd say to beware of is that, again, I say that the biggest problem I've seen with Kel'Thuzad play is that I see most players of Kel'Thuzad are just hyper-focused on the combo. It's the only thing they care about. So they get much less value out of their Q, both in terms of team damage and in terms of wave clear, and they miss out on all of those strengths of the hero. And then they very often feed. They're very often out of position because they're so focused on getting that combo as well. I know perhaps I'm a bit too passive on Kel'Thuzad myself. I'm not entirely sure, but I tend to play much safer, which means I typically come out of the game with less hero damage than other Kel'Thuzads because I'm not going forwards to like get those nice big juicy combos. Then I also die an awful lot less and get an awful lot more siege damage. It's that interesting thing. I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, there you go. It's Kel'Thuzad. I'm loving this hero because I think he's different. And I'm looking forward to doing some more videos on him in the near future. I've got some more practice on the hero. And I will see you guys all then. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.